Hi everyone. Just wanted to do a little bit of an update, which you're probably fed up of. I'm certainly fed up of it. Just because there's been a bit of time past today and lots of people asking the same questions and a few things becoming a little bit clearer. So I just wanted to try and do a little bit of a comparison, if I can, quickly between the document which is going to be on the left of your screen there, which is the route map document, the Scottish Government's full country, how do we get out of lockdown thing, and the letter, which is on the right of your screen, which is got the headings at least from the construction restart plan. So route map, construction restart plan. There, route map, there. I want to just line them up because they don't line up, and they've both using phase numbers that don't correlate with each other, which is slightly confusing. But let's just try and explain what I think is going on there. Now, yesterday I said that phase one of the route map was going to have phase one and two of the construction restart plan in it. Now, I think that's still true, but they're not necessarily going to come. In fact, I think they're not going to come together. So I want to just pull that out a little bit. So we've got some stuff in this letter, which remember is a letter from the MSP for housing planning and something else to the Construction Leadership Forum. And what it says here is that we will also require you to consult with government for agreement before progressing to phase two, and in any case will not approve such a move until a minimum of 2 weeks after we publish updated advice, though we will keep this under review. So that's for moving from phase one of the construction restart plan to phase two of the construction restart plan, and that's important because phase one of the construction restart plan is pre-site prep, pre-start site prep. So that's going to site with site manager, some others from management perhaps, and the leadership to try and work out and set up the site and in the way that you need to set it up in order to facilitate a return to works. Phase two is when you can actually go back and do something, but again, only where physical distancing can be maintained. I guess more detail on this when they publish this updated advice from the construction leadership group. So that's important to say. So that changes the dates a little bit, because if we think we're going to get agreement on launching phase one of the route map document on the 28th, which is a week yesterday, 28th of May, then that means that the phase one, if they're going to give you 2 weeks for phase one of the construction restart plan, that takes you all the way to the 15th of June before you could actually start on site. I'm adding in 2 days there because Sturgeon said that the measures would come into force within a couple of days of the 28th. So I'm imagining the measures come into force on the 1st of June, but those measures are phase one of the restart plan, i.e. you can go to site and start getting set up, but you can't do anything. And then you have this 2-week delay, this 14-day dwell time, to allow everybody to do that and to take cognizance of the construction leadership group's advice and guidance, and then have your actual soft start on the 15th of June. So that's different from what I said yesterday. So I'm sorry for that. That's something that a nuance that I missed, but it's actually quite important. Again, this is only where physical distancing can be maintained on site. I had lots of questions today, asking lots of really good questions that I don't have the answers to, about travel to site, about accommodation, about cleaning and various other things like that. We need to wait until the guide is published. But I want to do a little bit of looking ahead. So flicking to the phase two of the roadmap, the route map plan, so the national plan, what's going to happen in phase two. So here's we've got the working and running a business bit. At this stage, we're still saying that working from home should remain the default position. So if you can, you do. However, for those who can't, if you're in an indoor non-office based workplace, you could resume at that stage as well. So that is non-construction stuff, but maybe fabrication, maybe engineering, maybe manufacturing, those sectors would get the go ahead to go back then as well, which means we're underlining again, they're excluded. They're not being invited back on the 28th. So there are various businesses that I've had conversations with which are kind of on the edge of construction. They supply stuff into construction, but that's not the main focus of their business. Can they go back on the 28th? Probably not. I think we're really looking to phase 2 of the route map plan before they can come back. So when is that going to happen? Well, I don't know, but certainly no earlier, I would suggest, than the 18th of June. Why have I picked that date? Well, because that is a 1 3-week cycle, which remembers the review cycle time for the route map, the Scotland-wide route map, and that's 3 weeks from the 28th of May, which is the next scheduled time. So if you're not in construction but you do something else, that's probably the kind of timescale that we're looking at as a minimum. It could be later. What they say about construction in that situation is that it's in that situation when we get to phase 2 of the route map plan, is that we would be planning for construction industry to move to later phases of your sectoral plan. So assuming the sectoral plan is the as yet unpublished thing from the Construction Leadership Council, and later phases means, well, if we got through phase 1 and 2 on phase 1 and 2 of the restart plan on phase 1 of the route map plan, confused myself now, I really wish they'd named these differently, numbered these differently, then we'd be talking about phases 3 and possibly 4 of the construction plan as part of that phase 2. So that is steady state operation where physical distancing can be maintained, and then potentially towards the end of that where physical distance can be maintained and or with PPE use. So that's the only point really at which we can see a derogation coming for those difficult tasks that we've all got, where you can't get you need an extra pair of hands to do something, typically to lift or maneuver something into place. So that's a little bit out. Public transport at that stage, they're talking about public transport being increased, but you still need physical distancing on public transport. Does lead to me a little bit of a question about transport to work. So we're saying it's okay to go to work on a public bus, but not okay to go to work in a work van with someone else. Seems to me a slight contradiction in terms, but we'll need to wait until we see the fullness of the guidance to know if that is indeed what they're saying. Beyond that, phase 3 of the route map plan is where we see indoor office workplaces being allowed to reopen. So I think if you have got a construction business and you have an office, the implication is that you shouldn't really be opening the office bit of that until phase 3 of the national route map, which obviously is quite a long way away. The implication being that if you're employed in office work, you could work from home, which probably is true for the most part. So I hope that's cleared some things up. It's probably made things worse and not better for the majority of people, I would say, but that is my very best understanding at this time, and I will leave you all alone now from my dulcet tones until we get the update from the Construction Leadership Group, whenever that comes, presumably sometime between now and next Thursday. Have a good weekend, everyone, and stay safe. Cheers.